Hi, I'm Dr. Will Horton of the National Federation of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and I'd like to welcome you to this little recording on passion and why passion is one of the drivers for all of our lives. You know, there's a poem that goes that most men lead lives of quiet desperation and go to their graves with their song still unsung. And that's one of the great tragedies, is people don't allow their passions to grow. And I think one of the reasons for that is people make the mistake of thinking that if they have a passion for one thing, it's diminished when they have a passion for something else. And that, to me, is as silly as saying, you know, if you have 3 or 4 kids, that you love them differently. You love them one less than the other. It's a different kind of love for a lot of the things that we do. But still, the great thing about passion is if you have passion for one thing, it will probably diminish through time. Right? When you first get into something. And one of the things I want to stress is those of us listening to this that are on this video, we've been blessed because we've stumbled across something we're passionate about, hypnosis and neurolinguistics and the whole mind aspect of everything. But when you're passionate about it, you know, when you first get into it, it's like falling in love. And basically, it's the same neurochemical structure. Your vision opens up. You're like, you're enthralled. You block out everything else and you focus on the thing at hand. It's wonderful. You become just driven to learn as much as you can about it. But then, as you get more and more comfortable with it, usually that passion cools a little bit. It's not that you still don't love it, and it's not that you still don't want to do it. It's just that it cools a little bit. It still becomes your driver, especially if you turn your passion into what you do for a living. Now, I do believe the saying that, you know, if you love what you do, you never go to work a day in your life. That's true. But you know what? People mistake that, okay, I'm passionate about my NLP and hypnosis. But what if I get another passion that I just find fascinating, something I want to learn about, something that lights me up in a different way, right? Well, what begins to happen, what most people don't realize, is that passion in general lights up every other aspect of your life. It's kind of like when you're first falling in love. When you're first falling in love, you know, everything is brighter, the flowers smell better, the music's sweeter, food tastes better, your whole neurology and physiology lights up. It's the same with any kind of passion. When you get into something you're passionate about, wow, it begins to spill back over into other things, you know? And that is why we want to really find that passion and grow that passion and make it even stronger. And the other thing, for what we do, you know, with NLP and hypnosis, we have the unique opportunity to help people tap into that passion, whatever it happens to be, so they can drive it to get their lives better. You know, when you're working with someone, let's say to make a change in their life, stop smoking, lose weight, you know, make a behavior change. Well, one of the things that helps if they have a passion that they can tap into. Right? When you see people make a change naturally without ever seeing a hypnotist or a therapist or any kind of change agent, it's because something's driving them. Something is tapped into them that is strong enough to get them to want to change, right? You know, you see it all the time when people make a radical change because, you know, they've fallen in love or they're really ready to do something. And, you know, then it drives them to go forward. So what we want to do as change agents, as people that help people grow, is realize that passion is wonderful. So the first thing you have to think about is, what are you passionate about? Hopefully you're passionate about NLP and hypnosis. I'm still passionate about NLP and hypnosis as I was when I first learned it in the early 1980s. Excuse me. Is it the same? No, not at all. It's much different. I have a different breadth of knowledge, scope of influence. I see things differently. I've been in the field for 30-something years, right? If not longer. And so that gives me a different insight. Am I still passionate about it? Yes, but I'm passionate about it in a different way. What I'm passionate about now is learning different applications of it, how to take it to the next level, how I can influence people in different ways using the skills that we have without actually doing a technique on them, right? And that's just where I happen to be, and everybody's at a different place. When I first learned it, I was just, you know, happy, you know, just when people come in my office, I'd put them in trance. I'd do waking hypnosis. I would do an NLP technique. It was just wonderful. When I worked in a clinic or a center, like an alcohol and drug treatment center or some of the other places I've worked, it was just so much fun to do it in a structured, organized way. Well, I still do that somewhat, but I have different opportunities. So my passion is a little bit different, right? But when you look at a concept like burnout, right? What is burnout? It means you're burned out. It means the candle's extinguished. The flame is gone. What's that mean? The heat's gone. The passion's gone. The drive's gone, right? Maybe you've hit a plateau, right? If you hit a plateau and you don't really think you can learn anything else, then people easily burn out. I see it a lot in the martial arts, right? Why is it a lot of people quit after they get their first degree black belt, right? Well, first of all, it depends on the style that they're in, but they get to that level and they think they have nothing left to learn, right? And if you get to that level and you don't have mentors or people that can take you to the next level and see it in a different way, it's easy to say, is that all there is? Is there anything else, right? And so you begin to withdraw back and cycle back because you only have so much energy, right? And so you can pull back. But if you stumble across a different style, that's why you see people that stay in their martial arts their whole lives. It's not unusual to see them have several black belts and several different styles. Why? Because they get in a new style. It's the same science, if you will, with a slightly different, take or application, from Taekwondo to traditional Japanese karate like Shotokan, to Reiku Kempo, the pressure point, to Kung Fu, all the way down to grappling techniques. I mean, there's so much to learn. Now, if you're open enough to realize that mastery at one level really only means that you're open to learn at different levels. This is the key that most people don't realize. When they're getting into a field and it starts cooling off and slowing down, you don't realize there's so much more to learn. Those of us that have been in long-term relationships, have you ever been with your partner for quite a while, and then when you find out something different about them, you go, whoa, that's different. And you think, wow, they're more attractive to you suddenly again. Not that they weren't attractive before, but they're attractive in a different way because you learned something new, right? I was taking Japanese karate, a little bit of Taekwondo, and I was getting kind of burned out, right? It was just a certain style. And then I was blessed to stumble across pressure point karate, which was just so radically different and yet the same. They used the same, what they called katas, Taekwondo would call it forms, but they had a different application, a different way of looking at it. And it just I went, wow. And it started me off on a trajectory for 10 years. I went to seminars all over the country, went to George Dillman's place up in Pennsylvania to study with the master. I did all this because it was just passionate to me. And what I noticed when I got passionate about it, even my NLP and my hypnosis grew because I had more passion. I would look at NLP and hypnosis differently. It also gave me a different way. How can I apply my NLP and the hypnosis techniques with me speeding up the martial arts learning? Or when I was coaching, I'd be with other people. I got to see things in a different way. And what's kind of cool, a lot of people that I took karate with, for many years, they didn't know what I did for a living. It was not important to me to tell them that, right? It just lit me up, and I had so much more to learn, right? And so, when you have one passion, what happens is, I think it lights up your heart. It lights up your heart, your whole aura opens up, your energy shifts, and then when you look at things you're used to, you see them slightly differently, right? So you want to step into that passion and realize that, it's going to go through ebbs and flows. That's natural, that's normal, right? But what can we do to speed that up, right? Well, first of all, you have to realize the block that many people have is like, oh my God, I'm being disloyal to NLP or hypnosis if I have a different passion, or I'm being disloyal to this martial art if I go learn that martial art, right? First of all, that's very limiting thinking. That's thinking that there's only so much out there and there's so much more, right? So the first thing you have to look at is, what is your beliefs about this? Do you believe you can have multiple passions, that it can light you up in different ways, right? I mean, most of you on this know that, of course, I like the martial arts. I have a couple of black belts. I still study it, not like I used to, and a lot of that has to do with physical things. But I scuba dive because it's fascinating to me to see things underwater. So that just lights me up even more. I know when I come back from one of those, a dive or doing things like that, I'm like, whoa, I see things differently. And everyone here knows that my other big passion is theater, acting, right? The performing arts. Well, first of all, I think it relates to what we do, right? I've always said that if you want to be a really good trainer, you need to take a improv class. And I'm now even saying if you really want to be a good hypnotist or therapist, you need to take an improv class, because those of us that ever work with people for any length of time know that nothing goes step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's usually step 1, step 2, step, oh my God, we're over here, step 8, step 9, step 10. So you got to be able to improv and kind of go with the flow. Well, that comes naturally, but it's a little bit different. In the acting world, there's a lot of difference between having your script. You got your script. Here's your script. You're going to learn your script. You're blocking where you move, when you move, and all that. Great. Well, what happens when the person in the scene with you doesn't show up? What do? You can't, especially in a live theater, you can't just stop, right? So you begin to learn improv skills, even if you don't take formal improv, right? So if you have the chance to take improv, it lights you up. So I think performing arts kind of relates to what we do. It's not for everybody. But what's interesting, in my case, when I'm really, like I'm in a show or I'm taking an acting class, I'm working on a film, I notice that my NLP skills get sharper. When I sit down with a client, or I'm coaching on the phone, or I'm doing a Skype or a Zoom, something with somebody, that my skills get a little bit sharper. Why? Well, my passion's opened up, right? I'm more in touch with myself. And those of us that are into the law of attraction, well, what happens when you're in something that you're passionate about, well, what does that do to your energy field, right? It means you open up your energy field to attract more of the things that you're passionate to. So if right now I'm in a show and I'm really excited, I'm doing this, well, guess what? When I sit down to do my NLP, which I have some passion for, it opens up, it grows, it gets more powerful, and I do even better. My wife, when I said I was getting ready to do this little talk, she mentioned that, well, I've said for 30-something years now that whenever I get in a show, which is very time consuming when you're doing a live play or you're working on a film, it's funny that my other businesses seem to pick up. It's counterintuitive. You think they'd slow down because I'm spending a lot of my mental energy, on the play or on the film or writing the new book, or screenplay. But what happens is it actually opens up because I think I'm attracting more of this good stuff to me. So here's a quick exercise to tap into our passions. First of all, think about something that you're passionate about, right? Whatever it happens to be, right? And, right, when you close your eyes and you think about that thing, where do you feel it? Is it your heart? Many people, it's their heart. Many people, it's their solar plexus, a little bit deeper. Some, it's their throat. Some, again, this is what I love about NLP, and it's fascinating, right? It's going to be in different places for different people. What color is your passion, right? And how does it make you feel? Is it excitement? Is it anticipation? Is it a little bit of fear? A lot of people, real passion has a little bit of fear because you don't know what's going to happen. When the curtain goes up, when the director on a set yells, action, you don't quite know what's going to happen. I love that feeling. I love that, let's go, right? It's like, doing anything like that, right? It just lights me up. My energy shifts, right? So, but whatever you're passionate about, right? I see it with one of our friends when he gets ready to scuba dive. He gets all excited just planning the trip, right? He's, whoa, his energy opens up. And I notice his personality gets better. He's more gregarious, outgoing, fun, things like that. So step into that passion. Where do you feel it in your body, right? And what color is it? Is it moving or still? Let's do our submodalities, right? Right? Does it have a smell or a taste? I can taste it. I can taste opening night. That any performer, I think, can relate to that thing. I can smell it, taste it. It's like so exciting, right? And that little bit of pause right before, especially in live theater, before the curtains open. Especially if if I get to open the show. It's so exciting. If I don't open the show, it's like standing in the wings right before you break into the light, right? I love that. It's not for everybody, right? Sometimes, and rolling off the boat to do a dive. Those things are exciting. You don't know what, to me, that works. But what is it for you? Now take that color, that sound, that feeling, and imagine something you want to be passionate about. That maybe your passion's starting to cool, right? And imagine putting that in the same place where you feel the current passion, right? Because this is what happens naturally when you're, in my case, like I said, if I'm in a show and my passion's lit up, woo, and I'm all excited, next day I go to work and go to the office, I got clients, my aura's still open, my energy, and so when I bring the NLP skills in, boom, I'm like, whoa, I haven't thought about that in a long time, and my skills pick up. So find that passion and transfer it to something else. And try this for all of us on the call that have a long-term partner. Take that feeling of something you're passionate about, and now put your partner in that spot. See them differently. See them with that energy, that aura. See if it changes how you feel. It's kind of interesting. When you look at changing relationships, this is one of the things. It's why they tell people, go away with your partner, when your relationship cools, go somewhere different, because you're forced to be different. This will do it in a different way. So then, see, this is where I get excited about NLP and hypnosis, because maybe you can't right now take a 2-week vacation to some exotic location. What if you just change your mindset about it and change it on the inside? Then everything changes on the outside, right? Kind of see your partner with new eyes. See them with the eyes of passion, right? Try that. Try seeing your NLP with the passion that maybe you have for something else, right? And then you take your NLP back into that passion, so it becomes a loop. So that's our first little thing into passion. We're going to be talking about other things over the weeks. Once a week, there'll be a fresh video up on the website, nfnlp.com/members for our active members. So, each week it'll either be me or I'm going to bring people to be on to interview. And I already have some people in mind. Talk about how you can implement magic with what we do. And I guarantee you, one of my promises to the people watching the videos is that it won't be a pitch fest. The people I interview will actually teach and share something that's useful, fun, and that it won't be talk about something cool for 1 minute and then a 20-minute pitch fest to buy some other stuff, right? Let's give back to our community. So I'd like to thank you for being a part of this and helping me grow. And again, Dr. Will Horton of the National Federation of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, one of the world's oldest, largest NLP groups, and the only NLP group that focuses on street smart NLP, teaching people fast and effective and fun change technology. Have a great day.